Fair warning before we start this one, folks, this video is going to dive a bit into the topic of religion. And I know that can be a very difficult topic for some people to talk about, since it's the kind of thing that pretty much everyone has their own story with. As per usual, when I discuss topics like this, I'd like to open it with a disclaimer that I am not an expert here. I'm just one guy with access to his own personal experiences, as well as Google, and while I did a bunch of research for this video, by laws of average, I'm probably going to make a couple mistakes in here somewhere. All I'd like to say is that if you do pick up on me egregiously misunderstanding something, understand that I am totally open to being told that I'm wrong about it. I'll also put any notable revisions I need to in the description below. Oh, and please keep the comments civil on this one, too. So, with that said, let's jump into this. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now, and I feel it's affected all of us in very different ways. I feel something that's very healthy for us all to do, though, is to try and find a way to cope with it all. Something I've been doing is indulging in nostalgia, basically. Case in point, I've been playing some Flash and retro games I loved as a kid in my personal time. I've been casually playing stuff like CoinCrypt again. God, that game turns 6 years old this year. I have a personal goal to play the 3 Sonic games I missed out on because I owned a Wii as opposed to an HD console, and hint hint, I might have some plans to Let's Play Sonic Generations pseudo-blind. We'll see how that goes. And I've also been watching old Let's Plays I loved as a kid while working on stuff. It was while doing this that I was reminded of a game that kinda stuck it with me ever since I first saw it. The game's name is Pazzon. I think that's how you say it. Meh, it wouldn't be a GameDawg video unless I mispronounced at least a couple things. It's a freeware game made by Jesse Venbrooks way back in April of 2008. I was a little over 13 when this came out, and I first discovered it maybe a year or two after that. The game is very simple. A very simple art style, a very simple gameplay, a very simple plot. Heck, it's not even that long. You can easily beat it in less than 15 minutes if you know what you're doing. It's not even really challenging either, but something about it just kind of stuck with me in a way that I have a hard time describing. Every couple of years or so, it sneaks back into my mind again, and today was the day I actually went back and downloaded it and wanted to try it again. So, just so we're all on the same page here, let's describe what an average playthrough of this game is going to look like. Here we go. You start the game as this little friend with just a jump and a floaty double jump to your name. You start in this city of white windows and citizens who come off as friendly yet cautious. But then as you're leaving the town, you meet this larger man who tells you that you must meet the 3 presidents of the land. After a quick platforming challenge, you finally meet them. They are a large, tall man with eye stalks and lots of teeth, a floating head of a woman with very colorful hair, and a cross-eyed lamp. At least that's what I see when I look at these 3 individuals. The character design in this game is deliberately vague. They tell you that you've been chosen, but not for what. You do another quick platforming section and then talk with them again. At this point, they tell you about the creatures. They say that while they have different beliefs as them, they coexist peacefully. They also tell you to jump on them. Basically, this is an introduction to these little guys. Yeah, you jump on them, they're very friendly, and they bounce you up when you do. Next, you meet this guy who claims to be a messenger, and he tells you that you have to go to the temple to meet the priest. Why not? So you head there, and here's where the game takes a bit of a dark turn. The priest tasks you with defeating those little bouncy creatures from before, because they're sinners who don't believe in our God. But wait, I thought we lived in peace. You don't really get much of a choice here, though. The messenger takes you to a place with a couple of these guys and instructs you to convert them. By doing this, you walk up to them, press the spacebar, and then they begin to follow you. You can even still jump on them while they're doing this. When you're done in the area, you take them back to the priest who... oh. He eats them. And then all he ever does past that point is thank you and then send you off to convert more creatures, bring them back, and the cycle continues. You repeat this a few times until the game suddenly throws another twist at you. During one stage when you're trying to convert a creature, his eyes turn red, and he starts moving towards you. One could easily interpret this as them getting violent, but they actually can't hurt you while they're in this state. However, you can kill them by jumping on them, signifying the first time in the game where jumping on a creature doesn't harmlessly bounce you off of it. And you actually need to kill these non-believers as well, as the game won't allow you to continue until you either convert or kill every creature in the stage. You then just continue your daily routine for a bit when you suddenly run into a new mechanic, these X-shaped guys. You can still convert them, however you can't jump on them like you could the more friendly looking creatures. But then as you come across another guy who gets angry when you try to convert them, they kill them for you. Well, you then go back to the priest as you normally would and, wait, what? Now they're attacking the priest as well. And now he's gone. You move on to see the big man from the start of the game again. He's silent as you just walk past him, meet the 3 presidents again, and your new friends kill them as well. The third one doesn't even fight back, just giving you a warning that you will die if he does. But it's the only way. With the final blow, he disappears just like the others, and that's the end of the game. This is a weird game to me. A lot of Flash and freeware games I would play around this time didn't really try to go super deep or have a meaning message of the sorts. They just wanted to have fun. This one, though, I don't know, man. I mean, I've played stuff with hidden meanings to them prior to this before, but something about the presentation of this one just kind of stuck with me ever since. And you know what? I kind of want to see if I can decipher it. 10 years later, let's see if we can do that. Well, the first thing I was kind of curious about was I wanted to see what other people around the time might have thought of the game. Looking on YouTube, I found one Let's Play of this game by Deceased Crab, and this might be where I first discovered the game actually now that I think about it. Watching the video again, he didn't really give much commentary on a potential meaning, and just kind of played the game for fun. Nothing wrong with that, but that's not really what I was looking for here.
Mr. President, how are you? Oh no, they're lasering him!
On the game page, the creator links to articles/reviews of the game, although none of them seem to direct to actual commentary on the game, just some weird spam-looking site with not a mention of Pazzon in sight, and the other some other person's itch.io page. Old games like this can be hard to find information on, since this was before the age of YouTube being widely used, and even before sites like itch.io were created. The game page quotes one of the articles and claims it was compared to Animal Farm of all things. If you've never heard of that book, it's essentially one big commentary and parody of communism, and honestly, I don't really see that. What I personally interpret when I play Pazzon is instead a story about religious violence. Here's my train of thought. The first thing I was kind of curious about was the name. What is Pazzon supposed to mean exactly? I feel like we see a lot of artsy games have vague titles like this just to sound more mysterious, but this one felt a bit more deliberate, if you know what I mean. So I looked it up, and you know what I found? Pazzon is both a town in rural Italy and the Corsican word for crazy. Corsican is the native language of Corsica, an island in the Mediterranean Sea that, despite being closer to Italy, is actually a part of France. You know what these two areas have in common? Their majority religion is Catholicism, the biggest branch of Christianity. Now we're getting a little deeper here. Let's keep going. Now close your eyes for a minute and think of any religion. What pops into your mind when you think of that religion? Do you think of their art, their important figures, their clothing, their places of worship? Well, one thing that comes to mind when I think of Catholic culture is stained glass. I actually grew up in a Christian family, and one thing that always stuck out to me when my family went to church were the stained glass artworks. The windows in the first area of the game are white. However, as soon as you begin your journey, anything that can be interpreted as a window is now many different colors, like stained glass. A lot of character designs also use the stained glass texture. And speaking of characters, the presence of a priest is also very Catholic-coded. I mean, there are multiple religions around the world where the religious leaders are priests, but Catholicism is probably the most known one to do so. This might all be circumstantial evidence, but it's enough to convince me that this is a story about Catholicism, either taking place in Corsica, where Pazzon means crazy, or that small Italian village with the same name of the game. I'm kind of leaning more towards Corsica, though, because at the end of the day, what's going on in this game is kind of crazy. Being thrust into a plot by people you barely know to either demand people capitulate peacefully to your particular flavor of religion, or suffer violent consequences. Heck, you suffer violent consequences even if you do follow. Or perhaps maybe the priest eating the newly converted is symbolic of something else entirely. You know, I had this idea as I was playing the game that maybe the character's eye colors had something to do with their religion. Did you notice that your player character has blue eyes? And when you convert someone, they're given the same blue eyes as well. One of the presidents also has your shade of blue, with the others having different colors. They say that they all live peacefully with people despite having different beliefs, so this would make sense actually. But both the priest and the messenger have different eye colors. Heck, the messenger has heterochromia even, and they're the ones you're explicitly converting creatures for. This might be symbolic of how even when under the same branch of religion, there are still many types of sub-religions, so to say. For example, I concluded that this game might be about Catholicism earlier. Catholicism is a branch of Christianity, and as you'd expect from a religion with 2.3 billion followers, there were a lot of subsets and types to it. You have your traditional Roman Catholics, but then you got stuff like the many types of Orthodox Christians, Protestants, Anglicans, Baptists, Assemblies of God, Apostolics, the Amish, Quakers, Christian atheists. The list goes on and on and on. There are countless ways to interpret the purpose and teachings of God and the Bible. Perhaps the different eye colors are symbolic of that. I mean, if the priest, who is presumably one type of Christian, tells you to simply convert others to Christianity, but doesn't tell you the specifics of his belief, you're probably going to default to what Christianity means to you. But you know what? Maybe we can take this story in a different way entirely and assume that maybe the priest isn't even a priest at all. I shared this game with a couple other people, and a common interpretation I heard was that this game might be about cult mentality instead of religion. Now, cults and cult leaders are consistently some of my favorite types of villains in games, but real-life cults are actually quite scary in terms of how they manipulate people. One way they do so is by giving their leaders and followers nicknames in an attempt to give off an air of sagacity, as well as to remove people's individuality. Names like Priest and Messenger could be examples of that. Once you're in a cult, it's extremely difficult to leave as well, which might be the story reason as to why you can't leave once you start. Did Corsica have a cult problem around 2008? The ending makes me question a lot too. Who are these X-shaped people exactly? They unambiguously kill both the priest and even the presidents when they meet them. If the story is about cults, then them killing the presidents could make a lot of sense, as that could be representative of some kind of coup. But why would they kill the priest? Did the X people want control over the cult as well? I've actually done a lot of research into this type of thing over the past couple days. It was very interesting to learn more about Christianity in Corsica as I was looking for some hidden meaning to this small little game. Like, for example, did you know that Corsica was the birthplace of Napoleon Bonaparte? Religion is an inherently very deep and culturally important topic, so I always find it fun to learn more about the history of it. But in spite of that, I fear that I've sort of hit a dead end here. I've stumbled upon what I thought might have been clues to some deeper meaning. For example, I found an article about the history of religion in Corsica that lists 3 friar minors by name. I'm gonna have to look up what that means later. And I thought that might have been what the presidents were a reference to, but nowhere in that document did it mention anything about being overthrown at any point. Or maybe it did and I'm just dumb. I don't know why, but religious documents are written in such a confusing way to me. I feel the same way about like really old American legislature. Am I the only one who's a bit like that? I guess this video is just one big cry for help to finally understand this game. On the dev's page, he says that he hopes this game makes you think, and like, dude, mission accomplished. I've been thinking about this game for 10 years. Heck, I'm half tempted to actually reach out to the dev and show him this video. He's actually still around and making games, which is pretty cool, and maybe he might have some things to say about this little project. Hey, did you know that he also made the Kuroshi series? And that's kind of all I have to say here. Pazzon is a strange little game with a simple yet powerful little story behind it that has managed to stick in my head for as long as I can remember. Do you have any theories for this game? Feel free to leave them below. Let's have a discussion about this. I'll also link the game page below as well. Feel free to try it out yourself. For now though, I think that's all I'm able to add to the conversation. That's all for now, and I'll see you folks later. Thanks for watching.